You shit on us. That's what all of you do. You treat us like we are less than human beings. I get to listen to black people who won't help me because I'm not black. Instead, they want to tell me about how all black people have it worse than all white people. Fucking delusional. Or I get to hear about how all women have it worse than all men. Again, that's fucking delusional. Meanwhile, I didn't make my YouTube channel for your entertainment. I made it to show evidence in the hopes that there was maybe one good person out there in the world, and there's not. There's not one person who actually gives a shit. When it all comes down to it, between actually helping me and getting fucking drunk or high on fucking drugs, you're gonna get drunk or you're gonna get high on drugs. And when you wasted a bunch of my time, a bunch of my disability money, and wanted to give me 10,000 ideas that you came up with because you're fucking drunk or on goddamn drugs. First thing these fucking idiots are gonna do is play fucking victim. It's about like talking to a woman or a cop. You don't like hearing that? Well, I'm sick and tired of being treated like I must be a fucking guilty person because I have a dick. I'm tired of being treated like I must be a horrible, horrible person out to get people's kids because I'm fucking homeless. And then you get to see that bias played out time and again. And that's why that bias is played out, because you don't care. You see these people coming to my channel and being jerks, and it doesn't matter how many times I block them, they'll make their account. It's just like, well, the situation before Natalie was killed, when these fucking nut jobs wouldn't leave me alone. Meanwhile, I go through and I dig up that evidence, like 10 goddamn years worth of this shit. 10 years of being treated like hell, almost 11 years now. I hurt my fucking back in October of 2015. October of this year, it'll be 11 years since I hurt my fucking back. You don't get to fucking rehabilitate when you're getting fucking abused everywhere you fucking go over shit that didn't fucking happen. Instead of trying to understand, what people want to do is interrupt to make excuses. Or they do the sighing real heavy, trying to make you feel like shit for fucking asking. That's why suicide rate is so high. It's because you guys don't care about your friends or family. What you care about is feeling like you're right, winning a goddamn argument on Facebook, or, of course, trying to save yourself a little bit of fucking embarrassment. You don't give a holy fucking goddamn about destroying another person's life. You get to see these folks come on here onto my YouTube channel and in real life and approach me and attack me and assault me and threaten me. And I have to wait on people. Hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait. Well, I got to deal with idiots that want instant gratification. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I'm a Pomeranian. Oh my God. I need help stopping abuse. And instead of getting help stopping abuse, I'm having to deal with people who, well, obviously don't give a shit. What they want is attention. They want instant gratification. They want me to buy them cigarettes right now, or they want me to take down a video that they're in right now. There are literally thousands of videos on YouTube that I'm in that aren't from me. Thousands of them. And it'd be nice to be able to snap my finger and take all of those down, but that's not the right thing to do. That's not going to give a learning lesson, and that's not going to stop the abuse. The people who saw that shit cannot unsee it. I was denied all of my rights because my predators, the Bollinger family, who made my life hell for over a fucking year before Natalie was killed. Well, after she was killed, they wanted to fuck with me, and none of my goddamn friends cared. They wanted to tell me they cared, and they wanted to give me advice. They didn't want to take a look. Not a goddamn one of them wanted to take a look. They treat me like it's the worst fucking imposition in the goddamn world. They go out of their way to make it literally impossible to do something that, hey, I got the computer right fucking here, let's take a look. Everywhere that I go, I have to deal with this. As soon as people find out that I'm autistic, they start automatically treating me like I'm retarded. Doesn't matter how intelligent I am. Of course, I also got to deal with idiots like my dad. He's not alive anymore, but he seemed to think that I was Rain Man. Like, no, that's not how it works. And there's a lot of stuff that is assigned as an autistic trait that's absolutely not. People invest their time in what they're interested in. That's pretty much it. You will make the time for what you care about. Do you care about your friend who is being assaulted? No, obviously not. You never make the time to listen. You make the time to talk about yourself. I can give you a lot of examples of that. This person calling himself Keisha. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce anybody's name. I'm an asshole. I have no teeth. Makes me sound a little bit more southern than I really am. And of course, that results in me having to listen to people being more liberal with the N word and other racial unniceties. And then, of course, because I sound southern, I also end up with the, oh, you're racist because the sound of your voice, or you must be stupid because of the sound of your own voice. And it's not that way. When it comes to people being disrespectful, which I noticed you typed about, the thing is, YouTube is not the right platform for this. The reason I come to YouTube is because, seriously, if you come to my YouTube channel, you get to hear people blowing me off over and over and over again, making excuses, telling me stuff that they're not turning in with me. Why are they telling me these things? If these things are true, they need to turn them in. If people are threatening my friends and family members, they need to turn it in with me instead of forcing me to go to YouTube for our safety. Because if something happens, at least it's documented somewhere. At least the assaults are documented. At least the threats are documented. At least it's somewhere. The problem is, what you're not getting is that all of the evidence that I've been posting on YouTube, the reason that I'm posting it here is because I don't have not even one person who has tried to look at it and then actually turn it in. These are criminal acts that have been committed against me. When you have literally hundreds of hours to type with me and to make phone calls with me, to interrupt me and talk about yourself and pretend that that's helping me. No, it's not. It's fucking selfishness. It is selfishness to promise somebody that you're going to help them, that you're going to listen to them, and then over and over and over, you show them nothing but disrespect. You show them that what they're going through doesn't matter. That when it comes time for you to keep your word, to turn it in with them, that you're just going to treat them like shit. Look at the situation with Claire Jordan. Telling me, oh, well, when that stuff happens, I'll turn it in. I know what to do. Later on, pretending like she used to be a mandatory reporter. No, she didn't. Then she wants to tell me about all these girls that are being raped in Estes Park. Like, holy shit, Estes Park ain't that big. For her to have 7 different rape victims in 1 week coming up to her, that's pretty fucking insane. Maybe it's true, maybe it ain't, but it's always something. Why would you pretend to care about somebody? If you don't care about their well being, you don't care. If your opinions of their well being are what you're making your decisions on, you're making your decisions based on your fantasy of that person, their motives, their intentions, and the actual reality of their situation. It's nice to look down on somebody else, isn't it? Feels good to look down on somebody else, doesn't it? To feel like, hey, I'm better than that guy. I'm better than that guy. That's why I yell that junkie crap whenever people are starting their violent crap, starting threatening me and harassing me, thinking that this is an okay thing to do. The first thing I start calling them is a junkie because that's exactly what they're acting like. Now, there's some folks who want to say, oh, this person must be guilty because they're angry. Because they're angry, that's proof of their guilt. And then there's some people that get on and they go, they're angry. Only innocent people get angry. So that's proof of their innocence. And the reality is, no, whether or not somebody gets defensive over an accusation does not prove guilt or innocence. Evidence does that. The problem is that when I had to turn this stuff into the police, I had to do so by myself because not one of my friends tried to understand how the term mentally ill is abused by law enforcement and by the courts, how rubber stamping works. What this is that you're not a human being, but somebody with a badge is. So even though there's body camera evidence that'll show which one of you is a liar, well, they're not going to bother with the body camera because you're fucking homeless. That would require work. And really, these guys want to get on to the next case. So, fuck it. Cop lies to a judge signs a warrant. They don't give a shit about what's really going on. They don't give a shit about the evidence. They don't write down what you said, and they destroy their body camera evidence so that it's whatever they wrote down. Like, if you're going to call somebody delusional for saying something, what is it that you're saying is delusional? Obviously, people have been assaulting me and using Natalie Bollinger as their excuse. Obviously, there are hundreds and hundreds of these Natalie Bollinger things on YouTube from many true crime channels. And this is the most popular thing right now, isn't it? There are hundreds and hundreds of new ones popping up every day. You get one that's made by some YouTube content creator, and you get 4 AI clones of it. You know? And it doesn't matter what evidence I have. No matter what, the term mentally ill is used to deprive me of my rights, deprive me of my rights in court, deprive me of the right to an actual attorney. A public pretender is not even going to pretend to defend us. Meanwhile, we get friggin' mopey faced. Oh, oh. A lot of people that promised to help me how I needed. Turns out that they don't actually want to help to turn in abuse. They don't want to look at it and recognize that it is not a delusion and then turn it in with me and show the crimes that have been committed by the police over and over again. A police officer does not have the ability to diagnose delusions or schizophrenia. Not only that, the stuff they were pretending were delusions. I've been posting up evidence that those are absolutely not delusions for years. And I get to deal with a lot of crazy people. Some of y'all get on here and you're nice and you're respectful, and I want to thank you for that. But there's the majority of the people who come to my channel are trolls. They're just mean hearted people. They just want somebody to be cruel to. And I see on a lot of other channels, they have those people too. Not as many. While I have to beg people who claim to be my friends to make the time to help me after they've already promised to do so. Well, I have to pay them for help that they're never going to provide. I mean, I'm having to rely on drug addicts, and I'm told it's my fault for relying on drug addicts. Well, with all due respect, I tried the police. The police sent me to mental health. I tried mental health. Mental health didn't care. They all made a profit off of me. Mental health in Nebraska had me going back for almost a full year. Mental health in Colorado for 6 months. That was before Natalie was killed. Those people care that I was trying to turn in assaults, that's the reason that I'd gone to the police? No, they wanted to pawn me off on autism service, the same as they're doing here. Literally anything except acknowledge that they made a mistake. It was already too public for these officers to retract the things that were done. By the time police decided to try to frame me as some schizophrenic, delusional idiot, it was already too public for them to do it as privately as they wanted to. So they had to work with people to keep evidence out of court, and also to prevent me from having access to evidence. And instead of a friend or family member trying to understand, these are all people who have been spoiled by always having a house and always having a friend or family member to help them. Or they're the people who have never had that, and instead of making a single effort, even one effort, to try doing it with another human being, they will literally lie to you and pretend that they made an effort by themselves. And that is never okay. When it comes to a disabled person, you need to know that they are being abused. If they have recorded evidence of being physically assaulted, that is obviously not a delusion. If they already have hospital records going back over a decade, and somehow you got places like Tillamook and Boulder that want to pretend that I have diagnoses that I don't, or they want to try to have me diagnosed with something based on the word of a police officer who, by name, I'm trying to turn in. If you're trying to turn in Officer Burke, it's not okay for Officer Burke to lie to a hospital staff. If you're trying to turn in Officer Amanda Jonas, Boulder County, that was Longmont. I was there. Obviously, my paperwork shows I was there. What they've done is try to take out all of the parts where it shows that they physically assaulted me, that they did things that are immoral and illegal, that they did so because I did not have a friend or family member present, and that police officers, law enforcement, did everything they could to discourage anyone from helping me, including looking the other way to threats against my friends and family. To this very day. But it's all right because somebody here loves my hair. You're welcome for having a hairdo like this. I shave it on top. I'm full of it. I got to carry around a big old massive pile of papers, and I actually have two massive piles of papers now There's a bunch of stuff I'm supposed to carry in my pocket, which is all in this bag. It's a Crown Royale, but it's flipped inside out. I had a autism sticker to put on it so that if I have to reach in there to grab that stuff to show a police officer, I might not get shot for being autistic. So, like I said, there's quite a bit. I mean, I got way too much to go through, and I'm constantly having to move it around from place to place. This place is supposed to help. That place is supposed to help. Instead of somebody taking a look, hey, let's take a look at everything that needs to be gone through before we start trying to jump through a bunch of hoops that are impossible. The first thing to do is to take a look. If there is evidence, you need to see how much there is. The stuff that I'm posting up, that's not even the tip of the iceberg. That's nothing. There is so much of it. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with people who don't care. They don't care that I'm being stalked. They will care as long as I have something that they want. Is that really caring? No, because as soon as I no longer have what they want, they disappear. And they never finish the task. I guess the idea there is if you never fulfill your end of the bargain, you can always go back and promise that you're going to later. I mean, look at how many years of Claire Jordan and her bullshit that I've had to go through. She doesn't take the abuse that I'm having to go through seriously. She just wants to talk about herself, and I get it. She's lonely and alone, doesn't have any friends because she's weird, but also I have problems believing anything that comes out of her face. And I post up why, I speak up about why. This is what it's like if you don't have a friend or family member that cares. You have to try to find somebody to actually care, to actually make the phone calls with you to get something accomplished. Not, oh, well, eventually 6 months down the road, I might eventually, maybe, but probably not. As an adult, I know that when you go, oh, you don't want to do it, rather than outright saying that you don't want to do it, you want to be overly dramatic about making us feel like shit for even asking. That's one of the things that sucks about being a dude is you're not supposed to ask for help. You're not supposed to need help. You're just supposed to do what you're told, do what you're told, do what you're told. Well, what if you're not able to do what you're told? What if you already spent all of your money doing everything that everybody else told you to do? People who promised to help you. And then, well, once you've invested time into it, then it's, oh, well, I'll only help you if. That's not help. If you say, oh, I'll only help you with a 10-minute phone call if you help me to build an Olympic size pool in my backyard, you're pretty much screwed. You're not getting an Olympic sized pool. People's ideas are fucking ludicrous. It shows how pampered people in this country are compared to those on the streets. How people in houses don't have any fucking clue what it's like to be without. How difficult it is to get anything in this country without a permanent address. Where you're having to depend on somebody else who's probably on fucking drugs. Most of the people that I have had to deal with in houses have been on drugs or they've been completely clueless. Primarily drugs. Drugs and or alcohol. On some of the paperwork that I have here, it's got stuff going back for years. And I mean literally for years. As an adult, I didn't go and see a therapist until about a year before Natalie was killed. Didn't need a therapist. I got to go see my older brother and my other friends in Boulder, Colorado. I got to see them every day. It wasn't until I fucked up my back that didn't happen anymore. It was like they all forgot that I existed. They still wanted to tell me to go do stuff that I used to do before, as if the problem was that I just didn't want to do it, that I was depressed because I wasn't going for a walk every day, or that I was depressed because I wasn't passing out blankets until 3 in the morning. I was still passing out blankets till 3 in the morning with a fucked up back. Now this sheet right here is about how you guys kill your friends and family. This is exactly how you do it. And you can look through my channel and you can see exactly this. You can see it from Claire Jordan. You can hear it from Claire Jordan. And all my other supposed friends too. All these other people who said they do care, that they do want to put a stop to it. And what do? They want to change the subject, talk about themselves, or try to make me feel like I'm a horrible person. Let's take a look at this. Of course, we got to deal with rude people, don't we? No matter what. We got to deal with people who have absolutely no respect, who think that it's okay to victimize innocent people. And now that we have that going on, I believe that those innocent people should be allowed a way out. I believe that assisted termination of life should be legal. So let's read this together. This is a sheet of paper on committing suicide versus being suicidal. Unfortunately, they have them in the wrong order. Let's see if we can get this to work. When someone is suicidal, it's considered attention seeking. What you should be asking yourself is, why are they seeking that attention? What did they do first? What steps did they take first to get your attention before it became so desperate that they were suicidal? And of course, I've gotten to listen to people say, if you're going to kill yourself, you would have done it already. That's fucking horrible. That is dismissive as all hell, and it's destructive as well. It shows that you are making no effort whatsoever to try to understand them as a human being. Isn't this lovely? What I'm going to do with one of these fellers, you see how I get to delete his comments? Pretty easy to do. The problem is, stuff like that is the reason that I have to make it so that you guys can't comment, because you guys aren't actually going to help. You're not going to help to stop the abuse, but those guys are going to continue to perpetuate it. Without a friend or family member to help me to turn this in, I have to turn it in somewhere. I have to at least make the effort. Now, of course, when somebody's suicidal, you consider it attention seeking. Of course, when they commit suicide, you consider it a tragedy. No, they tried to get your attention. The tragedy is that you fucking ignored them. You treated them like shit for coming to you for help. You treated them like they were a goddamn nuisance. What the fuck is wrong with you? It isn't the bullies that push them to commit suicide. It's the complacency of their friends, of their supposed loved ones, the people who claim to care. The next one here, when somebody's suicidal, everyone feels irritated. You are so annoyed. How dare somebody who is being bullied into committing suicide? How dare they come to you for help? You get irritated and agitated with them and treat them like shit. But when you want help, how dare anybody treat you that way? But of course, when you've committed suicide, everybody feels bad. Yeah, they don't really give a shit while you're alive. They do give a shit when you're dead. That's because they're selfish. Feeling bad like that is a very selfish thing to feel. You're not feeling bad about the person's loss of life. You're feeling bad about your thoughts, feelings, and opinions of the situation. It's got nothing to do with the person that you didn't give a shit about enough to actually listen to. The person that you got irritated with and annoyed with and put a bunch of drama and outward horse crap to make them feel like they're less than nothing for needing help. And then you try to reword them needing help into, oh, you just want somebody to do everything for you. No, 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 no. That's not how disabilities work. Here it says everyone tries to avoid them, and that's exactly how it is. I need help. I don't need people to treat me like shit or order me around or treat me like I'm some horrible excuse for a human being for needing help or for speaking out. Over here it says everyone is present. Yeah, they'll show up to your funeral. When you need a friend, ain't nobody there, but they'll show up to a funeral. Shit, they might even get some extra attention for going to your funeral. Oh, he was my best friend. Oh, you were never fucking there. You were never there. Those of you watching this going, oh no, that's not right. No, 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 no. See, these people that commit suicide, they don't tell anybody before doing it. If you were really going to kill yourself, you'd tell somebody before doing it. And how many people have you said that to that ended up committing suicide? Yeah, everyone's present at the funeral, but nobody gives a shit prior. It says when they're suicidal, everyone dismisses them. And that's exactly what I've been showing through this, is me being dismissed by the very people that are supposed to help me. And as a result, I'm having to rely on junkies. I'm having to rely on drug addicts. All I got here is people who will talk over me, change the subject, try to turn it into a conversation, literally anything but listen. Says everyone dismisses them. And over here, for when they commit suicide, everyone wishes they saw the signs. This ain't Ace of Base, folks. Let me tell you one of the signs that somebody might want their life to end. When they come to you over and over and over again for an ongoing problem and you don't give a shit. You always make sure that you are too busy, even if you have to manufacture excuses to be too busy. This person who wanted to be a troll is not being as trolly right now. He typed, how would you help someone like that? Well, the first thing you got to do is listen. If someone is suicidal, there's a reason why. And a lot of times when you interrupt them over and over again and you want to ask them why over and over again and interrupt them, eventually they're going to stop answering. The answer that you're going to get is, I don't know. And that's not true. Every single person who is depressed knows why they're depressed. I have friends that do have depression due to chemical dependencies, or just issues with their brain due to different things that happen to them through their life. But the first thing you have to do is identify the problem. And when you've already decided what the problem is before you know what's going on, that's going to make it so that any of your solutions are worse. Also, when there's a long history prior to you getting there, that makes it worse as well, because it makes it difficult for you to be able to retain the attention span. Oh, God, I'm not even saying that right. I'm sorry. It makes it difficult for you to keep people's attention long enough to explain these things. Over here it says, no one believes they'll ever do it. And over here it says, everyone wishes they hadn't done it. It also says, if someone is suicidal, please take them seriously. It could save their life. You know what could save their life? Giving a shit when they come to you about being bullied. Kind of like, you know, it could prevent your daughter from cutting on herself so badly that she's got cuts up and down her arms, up and down her legs, across her belly. You know what could prevent that? You listening to her to begin with. Instead of treating her like she's a burden for needing help. When it says family or friend, it means family or friend. But you have to have a family or friend who actually cares. Therefore, when I say I don't have any family or friends to help me with this, that's true. I have acquaintances and relatives, and it's entirely different. Now, in order to help me, somebody would have to be in contact with me and take the time to understand my disabilities. I can explain them very well, but it gets difficult when it's a situation where I'm being grilled, and anybody in that situation is going to have that issue. Nobody who has been through a traumatic experience should be treated like shit for trying to turn in their abuser. This right here is my paperwork from Longmont. I can tell because it's yellow. Some of this is about lumbar support. Some of it is about my mental health. Let me see. It says apparently that I didn't have any drugs in my system, which is not surprising. I don't do drugs, so it's kind of difficult to have drugs in your system. Now, when you have a whole bunch of people that want to believe the word of somebody with no evidence, we've got an issue. This person typed, sorry for trolling you, dude. That's all right. You know, when it comes to autism, we have to deal with a lot of years of people making bad assumptions, and then there's Greta Thunberg that doesn't make anything better for any of us. There's also the situation with, of course, we're supposed to have rights, but we don't. You know, our rights in America are based on how much money we have. That's not okay. We're still human beings. So right here, here's some of the stuff that they wanted to write in here. 37-year-old male with significant past psychiatric history. Now, what past psychiatric history? Let's take a look at this. No past medical history on file. No past surgical history on file. No family history on file. There is no history on file. None whatsoever. There is literally no history on file. It says alcohol use. Comment will not answer. Well, actually, I did answer. No. No, I don't use alcohol. There's also a lot of stuff in this piece of paper. Like, for example, we've got a doctor in here, and he writes down very specifically, while they were trying to pretend that I was schizophrenic and delusional because they were told by the cops that I was, because the cops were told by Kara Johnson Miles that I was. So we've got a whole line of succession from people that are incapable of making such diagnosis, just believing whatever they're told. And that's just stupid. So I'm looking for my drug screen here. It says, let's see, and this is what they screen for. So I'm going to read off what they screen for, and then I'm going to read off what it says. All right, so it says right here, specimen collection. It says type, urine. It says component, amphetamine screen, urine, value, none detected. Woohoo! Threshold, 1,000, whatever the hell that means, blah, 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 blah. Barbiturate screen, urine, none detected. Okay, next one. There's none detected. Here we have benzodiazepine screen, urine, none detected. None detected. Imagine that. Cannabinoid screen, urine, comment, positive. Did I hide that? Nope, no reason to. It also says none detected. Isn't that strange? It says I was positive for it, but that there was none detected. That's just odd to me. So someone might have to explain that, how that works. Cocaine screen, urine, none detected, none detected. MDMA or ecstasy, urine, none detected, none detected. Opiate screen, urine, none detected, none detected. Are you guys seeing a pattern here? Now, it also claims that brought in by Longmont Police Department due to social media posts that both Secret Service and a family member saw and reported to law enforcement. Yeah, if I tell people that the Secret Service, yeah, those guys right there, if I say that, I get treated like I'm schizophrenic and delusional. However, yeah, the Secret Service was involved. I absolutely, and I don't hide it, I did threaten the President of the United States during his first term, not because I intend on hurting anybody, but because I literally needed to force them to take a look at the evidence of people threatening my family, threatening to kill my friends and family, my friends and family getting a hold of me, telling me that people are threatening to kill them and their children, threatening to kill my niece. But none of these people helped turn it in. So I got treated like I was schizophrenic and delusional. You also get to see that the screenshots that are the cover to most of my videos are actually pieces of evidence that show exactly that. It says, due to social media posts that both Secret Service and a family member saw and reported to law enforcement, LPD brought on an M1 hold. PT is upset with the inventory of his belongings and has quickly become uncooperative upon arrival, unable to redirect patient and de-escalate. Well, that's absolutely not true. They were supposed to be taking me to some place that I could make a police report about the abuse, about the threats against my friends and family, about the assaults. That's not what they did. Instead, they took me to the hospital, and this is a common occurrence. They will either arrest you on false charges, or they will pretend that you're schizophrenic and delusional and try to convince a hospital to fucking shoot you up with drugs, which is definitely not okay. Now, it's understandable if you are attacking people, but when you are literally locked in a room and then people disappear and the one person who's there says he's not allowed to talk to you, and you were literally supposed to be showing evidence, law enforcement, and they are refusing to, and your backpack is literally right there where you can see it. And you say to the security guard, hey man, Get those cops back here. They're supposed to take a police report. Get the cops back here. Well, he refused. So I said, hey, you need to get the cops back here. And he refused. So I yelled, you need to get the cops back here. About 15 minutes later, a bunch of cops and a bunch of people decided that despite the fact that although I had calmed down because they finally got the cops there, they didn't care. They weren't there to do the right thing. And they were never going to, because I never had a friend or family member ever try to help turn that shit in to this day. Not ever once. And the reason for this is because there are no good people in this country. Nobody's going to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Nobody. The only person that I know who actually does that is me. When I saw Jamie, who is a quote-unquote mentally ill woman in the Dalles, Oregon, being assaulted, I did the right thing, despite the fact that there were at least 30 people there that did jack shit and pretended it wasn't happening. And that is seriously how it is when the disabled people out here are beaten on. Now, we got to see on here that there is absolutely marijuanas that were in my system. I don't pretend that I didn't have marijuana in my system. I do want to state that at that point in time, I actually may not have had marijuana in my system, and there are a lot of situations where I didn't have marijuana in my system. What pisses me off is the situation, for example, here in Oregon. You can't get any services unless you're on fucking drugs. You either have to be a felon, be on drugs, or have kids. Even veterans are getting fucking kicked in the teeth over this shit here. It's disgusting. So, of course, although I was there for less than 20 hours, they weren't holding me to hold me on a mental health hold or an M1 suicide hold. That's literally not what it was about. What it was about was trying to get me rubber stamped by a doctor. That means they were trying to get a doctor to claim that I was schizophrenic, or they wanted a nurse to just blindly believe them and write it down on the intake form. Now, let me find the piece of paper here. A lot of this is just my care instructions for my back and care instructions for fuck all this shit. This is all about self-harming. Do I do lives every day? Yes, I do. Not always, but often. So, let's see. This is written by... Since the police told them that I was schizophrenic and delusional, the doctor didn't feel that that was correct. And there's several of these in here. It says the patient was evaluated by psych triage. He is not felt to be acutely suicidal or homicidal. I re-interviewed the patient and he is lucid. There is no evidence of psychosis or mania. The patient has no suicidal or homicidal ideation. The patient will be released. He is homeless, but has been offered to live with a friend. The friend is apparently going to pick him up today. The patient is to follow up with mental health partners for ongoing problems or concerns. Indications for return visit were discussed. Now, when was this? 8/19/2018. That's before they found Natalie's killer, but after they knew she was dead. No, that is 8 months after. That's right. 8 months after Natalie's death. You guys can see that there's lots of evidence that shows and supports the fact that I'm still being abused to this day. So having to do desperate things because the volunteers were making sure that I was harmed, and the police did everything that they could to help the volunteers because it was just assumed that the volunteers were the victims. Now with the popularity of it, no matter where I go, I take abuse. Have a good night. So, of course, the stuff that I'm having to deal with here is this right here is from Longmont all the way in August. All right. This is almost 2 years after I first started trying to turn in the assaults and the threats against my life. Almost 2 years.